Hello, YouTubers. Joe Kersey here on Saturday, November 15th, 2014 at 1:30 in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time. Now, it's been a sort of a computery last sort of day and a half. If y'all go back and watch the first three of my videos on this channel from getting on now, not quite 2 years. My sort of initial premise was, here's a 60-ish-year-old guy with his first computer, and he's going to try to figure out how to use it, and he'll talk about it, from time to time. Well, or more than from just time to time, as it's turned out. And, if you've watched the recent stuff, you realize that my original computer that I made those videos on, those first videos on, and up until, well, just about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, was, worked relatively well, and then, it had a spell there of it not really doing what it should do, and then it finally cacked off. And so I went out and bought this new one that I'm using right now. And I was going to get this old one fixed and then give it to my son. And essentially, he'd end up with a rebuilt new computer. Much better than the one he has now. He's got, I don't know, I think his is like a 10-year-old MacBook Air. One of the early MacBook Airs. It's the shell's made of plastic. It really looks almost like a child's toy. But it's, it served him well. But I don't even think he can even update to the new operating systems now. I don't know. In any case, he's going to have a new computer. Now, this was amazing. I took this thing I took this old machine in on Wednesday, the 12th of November. 10:30 in the morning. And, they gave me a work order and so forth. All right, we'll call you in it'll probably take 6-7 days. We'll call you in 3 to 5 days. Well, they called me Friday afternoon. Well, first I got an email Friday afternoon saying it was there. I mean, I could pick it up. And then, about 5 in the afternoon, they called me and said I could pick it up. I said, well, I'll be in at about 10 o'clock here this morning, Saturday. I said, that's fine. And indeed, I went down there. And indeed, after a certain amount of, standing and waiting, they kind of like to do you like a car dealership down there. They sort of like to isolate you off by the side somewhere, Oh, we just paused. It's kind of like they like to isolate you off to the side somewhere, like you go to buy a car and they'll stick you in a room by yourself for a while. If you ever have the misfortune to be picked up by the authorities, they like to stick you in a room by yourself for a while. Well, Apple doesn't stick you in a room by yourself, but they sort of want you, don't wander around, just stay put. And so I duly went over. They said, now stand there by that iMac. Okay. And I stood there, and I stood there, and I stood there, and I stood there. And a couple of people went by and said, are you being helped? And I said, yeah. I mean, the guy said they're going to bring this thing out. The guy said they're going to bring this thing out. Well, the third guy that came by, I said, he actually looked at the paper the email that I had copied off. He said, oh. have they brought it? You know, somebody bring us up. I understand they are, but he says, let me check on that. So he goes in the back door or the back room there, you know. It's very much like something out of, what was that TV show back, well, decades ago now, you know, Maxwell Smart or Get Smart, you know, they go through this, you know, a door would open in a wall, it looked like a solid wall. That's kind of like the door they have that goes into their back room there at Apple stores. Although it does have a handle on it that kind of blends in well from afar. So, in due course, the machine came out. Had a sticker with my name on it. Joe Kersey. Barcode. And then of course then you pay, you know, you give them the credit card and they have this little, they walk on their little phones and they just, you know, that's taken care of. And can we email you the receipt? Yes. Sure. He says, feel free to stay here and see if it actually works. So I opened the thing and I turned it on and it goes right to the startup page as if you had just purchased a brand new computer. And I didn't want to go through that there because I want my son to go through it because obviously he'll want to set it up. So I sort of did that thing where you hold the power button down for quite a while and then it will shut off. So I hope I didn't screw anything up there. I don't think I did. In any case, I've got 2 startup disks that we can use. So. But anyway, here's what was wrong with it. Well, I don't quite understand what was wrong with it, but some of the folks out there might know what was wrong with it. You know, they give you a nice, you know, statement here. Well, the interesting thing about this is, you know, I took this thing on a Wednesday afternoon, and it says, services arranged November 12th, product received November 13th. So they shipped this thing down to a place in Houston, Texas, and they got it, you know, obviously it had to be sometime next morning. And the repair was completed the same day, and it was back in Columbus, Ohio by 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the 14th. Friday. I mean, this whole thing only took like, you know, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 3 days if you count, you know, Wednesday. Wow. Go Apple. Well, or authorized Apple Repair Center, which was, well, down in Houston, Texas. So, it says, here's what we did. Replace the parts listed below, and then your diagnosed and repaired product now passes all hardware testing. We replaced these parts. Logic board, 2.6 gigahertz, 8 gigabytes logic board. I don't know, is that the central processing unit? Is that also then the RAM, you know, included with that? I don't know. Anyway, it said it caused the audio issue, the humming, the bzzz, bzzz. And then it said, you know, we replaced audio board. And that resolved the issue identified in the test/repair process. So a logic board, an audio board, and now we have an I/O board. Now I don't know what that means. Input/output board, perhaps. You know, these are replaced parts, they're saying. with part numbers. And they said that symptom was an HDMI issue. Well, I've never done any high definition media interface stuff off of that machine. I never did any of that type of stuff off that machine. In fact, they remarked that the HDMI slot on the side was kind of, filled with dust. So I don't know, maybe that's something else that goes on inside the machine that I'm not aware of. And then they replaced a flex I/O cable, and then it said the symptom was cable causing issue. Well, I'm unaware now of what issue they're talking about. But in any case, I didn't turn the thing on and run the thing. I'm we'll wait for my son to do that, because, as I said, I want him to be able to set the thing up the way he wants, his passwords and secret codes, and, that sort of stuff. And obviously, if it doesn't work for him, then we'll hose this bad boy right back down there, because they got a 90-day guarantee on the work. So that's good. So I got the dust and the crap out of the original box. And I boxed this thing up for him, so he can come pick it up. Now, in further developments from yesterday, well, actually, it's been over the last few days. I have a program called Mac X Video Converter Pro, and I bought that April 15th, 2014. I think I paid like $29.95 for it, maybe $34 for it, something like that. I've only bought 3 pieces of software for this machine, and that was one of them. And what it lets you do is it basically lets you record anything going on your screen, either with no sound or your own sound, or if there's an appropriate add-on, the system sound on its own, whether you have the speakers turned on or off, or the headphones in or out. That's obviously the option you want, because then you can sit and yak while you're watching something while it's being recorded, rather than have everybody having to be quiet. Well, as you might imagine, sometimes around here, some folks can't be completely quiet. Well, and then there's always a chance that that effing phone's gonna ring. So a few days back, there was an update to this program, and I generally try to install the updates, and I installed. That's fine. And then I noticed that when I wanted to set up screen recording, that you have to go to advanced settings, and it said system sound, and then you have to have an insert. Well, that's okay, because I remember in a previous version of the program, I did the same thing with sound insert, and it went in just fine. In fact, it was very trivial. I mean, just like two-step process. This, though, they actually put in like a separate installer into my, downloaded as a separate installer in addition to that program, and you open it up, and yeah, password this and password that, and do you want to install, and it wouldn't install. Okay, that happened, you know, in the great cycle of computer hell, upwards of 10 times until you start meeting Einstein's definition of insanity, you know, doing the same thing each time and expecting something different to happen. That happens a lot in this kind of stuff. At least for me, or with me. And so I went back, I dug out the original emails involved in the, you know, when I bought the program, and I emailed the outfit that wrote it. It's called DigiArty Software Incorporated, and they had an email thing, and I, you know, told them my operating system and my equipment and what was happening, and I thought, well, I'm not going to hear. That's just, you know, I can still use it. It's just not as easy to use. You know, it's not as clean to use. And a guy emailed me back, and I didn't print that one off. But anyway, this fellow emailed me back, and he gave me a thing. I had to go to this thing called Terminal, which I guess if you have occasion to go to Terminal on an Apple computer, you're sort of nearing the end of the line on solving, you know, being able to solve a problem. Hey, that's why they call it Terminal. And it's just, you know, it's like, you know, sudo, and then there's a whole bunch of this, and then you go to Terminal and you type in this command, you know, sudo, and then after you get done typing the thing in, it says, This is a sudo command. Are you absolutely sure that you typed in the command correctly? And are you absolutely sure you want to do this? Because, you know, I guess that's like, you know, ringing a gong in church. You know, you can't, you know, some of this stuff you can't undo. And then, you know, you have to put your password in, so I put my password in. Interestingly, you know, you put your password in and you're not even sure you're putting it in because it doesn't like have any dots go across or anything. It's just like, you know, you click on this little thing there after password and you just start typing and hope for the best, I guess. And then the guy says, after you do that, restart the computer, which I did. And okay, that, of course, there's always that spell where the screen is blank and black. Nothing's happening, and you're just thinking, oh, what have I done? What have I gone and done now? You know? And I'm thinking, well, at least I have everything backed up. It's all backed up. It's all backed up. But no, in due course, it did restart. So I went to the Mac X Video Converter Pro and went to set up system sound and said, you need to have this installer. Sure. And the little installer, almost like a communist symbol, you know, hammer, and wasn't like a hammer and sickle, it was like a hammer and something else crossed in the bottom of the, you know, dock, the applications bar at the bottom here. And you click on it and it's install, and, you know, and it wouldn't install. You know, so again, you know, Pache Einstein, I gave it about 5 tries. Didn't work. So I emailed this guy back to see if they've got any more suggestions. But I have a feeling I'm going to have to start, you know, I could kick myself for updating this thing to, you know, this particular program, the 5.5 0.3. Because the previous one, that installed insert worked fine, and I have used it on this new machine, since I've used it on the new machine, the old program, before I updated it, and I should have just kept my I should have just kept my hands off that. But you never know, do you? I've updated that thing several times. It worked fine each time. So. Anyway. It's kind of like Back to the Future in terms of my computer tales. I'm even wearing the same shirt. I'm far more at ease doing this than I was then. Well, that's about it. I could actually show you some stuff from out on the deck here. Maybe I will. We'll see here. It's 21 minutes. I think I'll just say bye-bye, YouTube.